Concerning young people and their interaction with local law enforcement. So I was just over at Blue Ox Youth and Community Radio the other day, and they were talking about, at least here in Eureka, obviously it's Eureka PD, not sheriffs, but they were referring to an incidents where groups of youth, three or more in a street corner, kind of get interrogated as if they're members of a gang by default, and obviously there's various curfew laws around the different cities. Do you feel there's the sufficient level of trust between local law enforcement and young people, both under 18 and those just past it in college age? What more can be done to really reach out to the up-and-coming generations and let them know that law enforcement's on their side?
Well, one thing that the Sheriff's Office is doing currently, and we've done for the last 4 or 5 years, we have an Explorer program. So we're taking young people of that same age group and bringing them into law enforcement, getting that exposure to law enforcement. In fact, they attend many community events dealing with traffic control and flow of people in and out of events, so they're visible to the community, and they can relate with some of these younger people that we may deal with on a daily basis at a street level. I think that's a good program. It's a program I'd like to see continue. I'd also like to explore additional programs to deal with the youth. And we're doing that through our school resource officers, one in McKinleyville and one in Arcata. And the response we're getting back from the schools is good. The interaction with these deputies is positive. Again, Eureka has their own school resource officers to deal with that type of thing. But I think the programs we have going in both Arcata and McKinleyville are indicative of our desire, the Sheriff's Office desire, to meet the needs of the youth in our community. And again, we're talking about 2 separate generations here, and sometimes generations don't always see eye to eye on the way things are going or how they should go. But I think it's building that trust and that rapport with the community, putting face to the name, and getting in the community, working with these people as you build those trusts.
Now, you mentioned the current state budget crisis. It does look like the state's set to raid even more local funds, redevelopment, transit funds, and so forth. If you are faced with the tough decision of having to triage and make it through a tough budget year, what would you cut and what would you protect from cuts?
Well, right now, we've been doing that for the last couple of years, having to triage, as you said, and deal with the tough budget cuts. But I'm happy to say we have not cut one deputy sheriff or correctional officer's position. We've had to freeze a couple of vacant positions. I think we froze somewhere in the vicinity of 6 or 7 on the operations side and 8 or 10 on the correctional side, which does impact. But the point is we still have the same amount of people on the street that we did 2 years ago. In fact, we've actually got a few more because we're able to fill some vacancies. So, yes, we are in tough budget times. Yes, we are working on next year's budget already. The sheriff and myself and our business office manager have been working on this for the last couple of months. But we are going to take no cuts in personnel this year. We're not making any major concessions, but we are making concessions. We have been asked to cut by the CAO's office, and we are meeting those mandates through sheriff's forfeiture funds, cutting down our overtime budget, and things like that to meet those mandates. So we are meeting those mandates, and I think that the years to come will be able to also meet those mandates. One of the good things that's happening this year is the fact that we are now in the running again for the Cops Hiring Recovery Grant. It's part of the stimulus package that the Obama administration brought up last year. Last year we were not awarded the grant. Went predominantly to police departments throughout the country. They brought it back because they believed they saw the disparity between police departments and sheriff's offices. We are now in the running again for that grant. We could possibly get anywhere from in the vicinity of 2 to 7 additional deputy sheriffs through that grant process. So we've revitalized our grant. We've come up with the figures that they need to bring that grant forward again, and with any luck, we will be able to add more deputy sheriffs to our ranks. It's a 3-year grant with a 1-year match. So we feel in 4 years we should be far enough out of this budget crisis that match will be met, and we will continue on with those deputies that we employed through this grant opportunity.
One day walking by a Eureka courthouse last year, I couldn't help but notice quite a large protest, and it's not your usual cast of protesters. There was a lot of local law enforcement officers who were objecting to some of the pay cuts or at least lack of COLAs and pay increases for Humboldt County Sheriff's deputies. What's your take on union relations between management, or in this case the sheriff, and the local law enforcement unions, and when do you think they'll be made whole again as far as these pay increases and getting parity with other local law enforcement officers?
Well, I believe the issue, you have two issues here. Number one, the sheriff's relationship with these employee associations is good. We work with them all the time. As far as the pay issue, that's a negotiated contractual issue between personnel, the CAO's office, and the employees associations. The sheriff does not enter into those negotiations. Can he have input if asked? Sure. But those are strictly negotiations between the county administrative officer, board of supervisors, and the employee associations. I will take the stance, and the sheriff will take the same stance too. We want our employees to be paid equitably with other law enforcement agencies in the county. We support anything that they are able to negotiate for with the county, and but we have no vested responsibility in the actual negotiations of those contracts.
Now, in terms of drug task force and your own involvement, you mentioned in fighting illegal marijuana growing. I assume a lot of that's probably on public lands, where obviously it has no place any kind of private agricultural activity that's unpermitted by the state or federal authorities. What do you think the priority really should be as far as enforcement of marijuana laws versus serious and violent felonies and other crimes against persons?
Well, I think the stance we're taking right now, and again, we have just been awarded $275,000 each year for the next 3 years for marijuana suppression. Our stance is, and will continue to be, to go after the large commercial drug trafficking organizations. And you mentioned on public lands. We also have private timber holdings that have they're vast, and we have large drug trafficking organizations that are going in there growing mass quantities of marijuana for profit. And again, even the same thing on public lands. You're talking about state and federal Forest Service and state parks property. It's a problem. It's an issue. If we go back 10 years ago, we spent most of our time in southern Humboldt dealing with the marijuana issue there. Last year we spent 1 day down there. It's been a real transition to northern Humboldt because of the vastness of the properties that are rather rural and isolated. So they find that they can grow this commercial crop much easier there. Our interest is in dealing with the illegal commercial growers that are actually doing a disservice to everybody in Humboldt County. As far as the 215 Compassionate Use Act grows for medicinal purposes, we have no fight in that game. As long as someone is staying within the recommended parameters of their physician, then that's fine. In fact, we don't really have the time to deal with even checking those recommendations on a regular basis unless we're called to that location because there's suspicion that there's some large commercial grow operation. We get there, if we do choose to check it out, if we get there and the person shows us their recommendation, they're in compliance, we walk away from it. Mm-hmm. But we don't have the time to deal with those kind of issues, and nor will we in the future. The marijuana grant that I spoke of that we're getting is very specific, and we are going to use it what it's specified for, and that's to deal with these large commercial growing operations that have invaded public lands and private holdings.
And in terms of what the sheriff's office priority are as far as fighting drugs, do you think meth is a growing problem? These meth labs out in the rural hills that you hear about and that occasionally seem to get busted.
Methamphetamine is a growing problem and a serious problem. And it is so serious, and we've taken it so serious that we currently have a deputy sheriff assigned to the drug task force. And through the Cal Met grant, which is a grant specifically designed for methamphetamine interdiction, we are part of the Northern Initiative on the North Coast. We administer the grant from both Humboldt County and Delaware County. We've been able to assign an additional deputy to the drug task force to deal specifically with methamphetamine interdiction. We are a large county. There is a problem here with that. By partnering with the drug task force, we increase the numbers of people we can put on specific issues. But we do take it seriously. We are working to combat it. We're looking for other opportunities through different programs to bring additional people on to work with that.